Hi traders and welcome to the Technical Analysis Market Watch on Friday the 20th of September. So I've seen a bumper week this week with an interest rate cut, and the markets have certainly really broken some very key zones and are accelerating at the moment. So we'll jump straight into the charts and see if we can identify any trades for today or early into next week. All right, so we'll start out here with the Aussie USD, and we can see that we saw a really big bounce off this level this week, and it's effectively all off this green line here around that sort of 67 cent mark, exploded right through to the previous highs at around that sort of 68.20. Failed to close at the 68.20 at this stage, but there is still a little bit of the market to go, so there is the possibility that we could get a little bit more strength before the end of the session. Big move though, obviously a very strong sustained move. It's very strong resistance at this point, but there is resistance just in front of it at around that sort of 68, 70 to 80 mark. So to me, there's still a little bit more movement in it if we can get a little bit more momentum. The 20 moving average is proving to be a catalyst on the smaller time frames. I'll take you to it. And you can see here, sorry, I need to go to the 1 hour. As you can see, the 20 moving average has been the catalyst for all of the higher lows. And again, it caught it at this level here. So it's a very important juncture in this trading environment right now, in the sense that if we break through the 20 moving average, we may start to see that little bit of rollover on the bigger time frames and a push back down to that probably 67.80. But if this 20 moving average can actually hold on the 1 hour and push to a new high, and by a new high, I mean this little level here, past 68.20. If we get that, and also a daily close at that 68.20, I think we've got opportunities all the way up to the 68.50 to 68.80 that we can see on the daily. So we need to break this little zone here first off the 20 moving average. And if we can get that, then we're looking at good opportunities up to around that sort of 68.80 level, which is pretty good trading on the Aussie. US dollar CAD, well, look, a mixed sort of day. You can see here that we've got very heavy resistance at this point. There's no question about that. But we knew that, we've known that for a few weeks now, of course, and we had a lot of resistance and support right through this level. So right through here, we can see that we've got a very important level at around that 136. And this week, effectively every candle of the week touched it at some point or another, and actually closed around it. So big range on this last candle. Obviously, we saw a lot of volatility in this session, but as you can see, reasonable amount down, reasonable amount up, but it is basically filling up like a bit of a doji towards the end. The important thing is this under the resistance. While it's underneath that resistance, we're looking at lower high, lower lows on the smaller time frame, and then potentially a move down to around that 134.50. If we get a daily close above the blue line, the 50 moving average here, which is around that 136.30 area, a close above there on a daily, and then I would be looking at potential moves up to the next resistance level, which is around that 137.20. So good trading, but it's only scalping at the moment, right? We're only looking at scalping opportunities, but the bands where the support and the resistance are playing a very important role in the direction of these trades. So they're giving us really good insight as to what to aim for, and where to head in terms of stop losses and things like that, because they're holding their ground very well. All right, US dollar yen also did the job for us this week. We had that big rebound. We had the morning star pattern last week. This week, part of this week, end of last week. You can see it hit the 20 moving average, which is the target, and the previous support level around that 144. Really good trading. I know a lot of you got that, so that's really good, because it was a pretty obvious trade in the sense of how it was setting up. It had a really good chance of working out for us, and it did, which is great. Sold off quite aggressively from that zone. Not that unusual, but if you go to the smaller time frames, look, you will see that there are trading opportunities all the way through it. The 15-minute gave you higher lows, as you can see, and then you can go to the 1 hour as well, depending on how you were trading it. And again, you had the higher lows all the way up. Okay, so bit of a double top at that level. Obviously, big rejection at that 144, but we'll see if the 20 moving average can do its job and keep it moving up now. There is a reasonable amount of support at this level now, so it's an important zone for it, around that 142.80. We'll go back to the daily. And yeah, we'll see what it gives us. But realistically, it's already done its job. So hopefully you probably should be already out of that. If we get continuation in the strength and it closes above that 144 and the 20 moving average, then we'd look at moves that will continue on to around 146. But it's got to close above that level first. And if it higher lows on a daily, that would make it even stronger. So really good trading on the yen. All right, dollar index has been the one that's been very, very weak, obviously. We talked about this last week, that it failed at an important zone at the 20 moving average and a double top. It's back down here around that 100 dot sort of 60, 70 area. Very, very heavy support at this zone. Still hasn't broken through. And until it does break through, there's not a lot we can do with it in terms of expectation for the low side. If we find support here again, it's a pretty obvious target, straight to the 20 moving average and a break above that 20 moving average, and we're looking at a move to 102. But a daily close below that 140 level, then we're going to start looking at moves down to that 99.50. I think that's is very strong support. It's still doing its job at the moment. As you can see, just about the entire week has touched this level at some point and bounced off it. Today's been an interesting candle. Obviously, it had significant highs and then a push down to around this base again. But the euro is obviously the one we want to be trading, so we'll jump on it at the moment. At the moment, very strong support there. We'll go to the euro. And look, it aimed for this week we did hit the almost hit the 112, 111.80, got pretty close. Interesting candle, came back down, tested the 20 moving average, but it's looking like it wants to go long and it's peppering the high. So really a lot's going to depend on the dollar index now. If the dollar index can't hold its own against all of its counterparts, I think that we're going to see a very strong euro, one that could break through the 112 and really push on. So a breaking of that, sort of 100 and sort of 40 level on the dollar index, we'll see this above 112, the euro. And then if it does that, there's a reasonable chance it'll push on to pretty reasonable movements. There's a long way to go. You're talking about, potentially up to 113. 112.80, that's the first move, but obviously it can be a lot higher than that. This is the area that we're talking about, because once we break through this zone, which is very, very important for it, 112 is extraordinarily important. It's got historical support there as well. But once that breaks through, it's open sliver for how long it can go. It's been sideways for a long time, but it's really starting to pepper for the first time this level, and it's got up there in a very, very orderly fashion. You could make it a case for an inverse head and shoulders here as well, shoulder, head, shoulder. A break of this zone is going to be very important. So we'll see what the dollar index gives us, and if it can hold its support. If it rolls over here and starts to sequence lower high, lower lows, then we'd look for a move back down to around that sort of 110.80, which is about the 20 moving average on the daily. So good trading on the euro, especially if you got it off the base, which we were talking about. But its destination has been reached for the shorter term, but there could be a bigger trade at play here shortly. So we're going to certainly watch this one with a great deal of interest. All right, and over to the S&P 500, which has been a really, really big move, obviously, today. Interest rate cut made a big difference to it, of course. You can see yesterday it was subdued reaction, but today we saw the power of what the market anticipates is good for the market. Broke to an all-time high and broke the 5,700. More importantly, the round number. If it maintains this level above that, look, there's still a little bit of trading to go in this particular session, but if it breaks and holds above that level, really, it's probably more important about what's happening on Monday than what's happening this week. Really, in my mind, if we're trading above the 5,700 on Monday, we'd be looking for opportunities to continue on. So taking advantage of higher high and higher lows on the smaller time frames to continue on extending. But if it rolls under the 5,700 and is trading below, then I'd be looking for opportunities either back down to the previous resistance, which is around that sort of 56.30, and then failing that around the 20 moving average, depending on how fast it takes. The moving average can't get up there quick enough to 20, then we will get involved in that. But this has been a pretty good trade. You can see even in today's trading, it's been a very steady climb. It hasn't been just one candle. It's been pretty strong. And the higher lows worked basically all the way up there to the new high. Broke through the 5,700, came back down and tested it in classic TA mode, and then pushed up again. So really good trading on that. Hopefully you're able to take advantage of that, because there were some good opportunities to join what was already a pretty strong trend. All right, everyone, thank you so much for joining us this week. I hope you had a great week's trading. We saw some really, really good levels hit and exceeded. Have a fantastic weekend, and I look forward to seeing you all next week.